Hello everyone and welcome to the wonderful world of the Roman Empire. If you followed along with the Roman Reclamation campaign, you will know that over the course of, about 108 episodes or so, we rebuilt this marvellous empire. And so we're going to take a look at the timeline and go through and recall some of the wonderful events of the series. That is the plan. There is also a silent time-lapse if you would like to see the entire thing in the space of about 6 minutes. You can go and watch that. That video will have gone up just before this one. But for a more detailed look, you're in the right place. So, right at the beginning, of course, you begin. I like that the city is already showing at its final size on the map. That's fun. So you start off with, obviously, the huge rival of the Ottomans, and we employed a rather weird strategy to defeat them. What we did was we let them cross the Bosphorus, and then we blockaded the Bosphorus. And as you can see, through war dynamism, we're getting a couple of provinces, and they got a province. But the thing is, they can't siege down Constantinople, because it's too big a fort and they haven't got enough men. So we were then able to just siege down and war dynamism and take away all of their land except 2 provinces in the first war. And the main thing I would like to say about playing as the Empire of the Romans is that it's not very difficult. Unlike in vanilla, where it takes probably 2 wars to properly break the Ottomans, and it's really quite tough to pull off. In MEIOU&Taxes, it's not very difficult. So I highly recommend you go and give it a go, because it's great fun. Then, as I recall, we consolidated land up here a bit. Yep, there we go. And wiped out some Beyliks to speed it up here a bit. And most of this phase was just kind of consolidating. Finished off the Ottomans there, grabbing some land off the Bulgarian fractured lands. We vassalized Moria and fed them this area. And then basically at this point, this is where victory is assured. We've got control of the Aegean, which is an extremely rich and well-developed bit of land. So we're in a great spot from here. We spend a little while just consolidating. You know, we build up, we lower autonomy, and then we have our first major war against Venice. And this was a huge, great success for us. It took us quite a while, but we got some a mighty navy. We smashed the Venetians and we seized their trading posts in Crete, which really consolidated our control over the trade in the region. Again, just consolidating the central region, making us very rich. Obviously, Bulgaria falls, we push to the Danube, which will remain our border for a little while, I believe. And now it's finally time to move against Aretna. Aretna had become a thorn in our side. There was a kind of uneasy peace with them. We had many troubles reforming the army, as many of you will remember, not fondly, shall we say. But eventually, I felt like I was in a good enough position. We went against Aretna. We took 2 of their major cities in that first war, which really neutered them going forwards. More consolidations. Quick war against Hungary establishes a very powerful Serbian vassal that we feed there, which is quite successful. There we go, a bit more Serbian feeding. We begin to move up into the Black Sea, again just pulling trade into our lovely core region. And now I think it's about time, finish off Aretna, about time we go to war with the Mamluks fairly soon. Obviously the Mamluks are our major rival at this point. Oh yes, right, no, first, of course, we make our first grab into Naples here. The wonderful city of Napoli falling under our control, beginning our push towards what would eventually become the coffers of the empire, the Tyrrhenian Sea node, hugely rich, of course. But then after that, I think, there we go. The first huge war against the Mamluks, and we took a lot of very nice land. Much of this southern area, fairly poor, fairly insignificant, but this port here and this port here, both nice cities. And of course, the more symbolic achievement of having beaten the Mamluks, and therefore, you know, we're well on our way to controlling all of Egypt. What happens next? I think we're going to make more moves in Italy, probably? I can't remember, honestly. We finished off the Crimea, as you can see. There we go. Grabbing most of the remains of the Syrian region. Another big city here, and Damascus down here, relatively large city. Now butting up against these Geliarids, who are quite powerful, but will neuter them as well in time. Pushing into Wallachia, I believe. Another controversial move from a historical borders perspective, but I think it works well with how we ended up. Of course, most importantly, the Holy City. Rome falls back under Roman control, which is excellent. That really hurts the Catholics as well. I believe it's at about this point that we started really bringing the pain to the Catholics by bringing down the Catholic Church. I think it's after we take after we take Alexandria. But there was one great moment where we basically declared the schism ended, and a whole load of people in this region converted to Orthodoxy. It was a fantastic moment. Alexandria falls to the Romans, and our beautiful, shapely name begins to appear, controlling all of this region. Really not having much trouble at this point now that we've got this huge central power base. The great thing about playing as the Empire of the Romans is communication efficiency is fabulous around here because it's so coastal. This being coastal like this, you know, it's what helped the Romans, it's what helped the Carthaginians. It's a really good way to build an empire because we can communicate from here all the way down to here, or to down to Damascus or to Aleppo really, really quickly, even over to Italy, just because the sea travel is so fast. Yeah, consolidating the eastern border, there's the first big war against the Gelarids, and boom, you can see that the rate of expansion has really begun to tick up. Massive war sieging all of the remains of Egypt and pushing over into Libya. Fantastic news. Now, our attention turns more solidly to Italy. We really start going ham on retaking our ancestral birthright. Of course, there goes Venice, establishing our second lovely trade spot. But yeah, now we're really starting to focus in on Italy. The eastern conquests, relatively slow at this point, but as Italy begins to fall, it's just such a large amount of land. Couple of vassals released there, and then promptly fed a bunch of land from Aragon. Should be fairly soon, I imagine. Go on, don't make me a liar. There we go. Boom. All of that last vassal land fed. Very low AE, of course, and consolidating our hold by taking the final major city in Italy outside of our control in Lombardia. Solidifies our control over the node, and pushing to the Danube against Hungary as well. Beautiful, beautiful. The eastern border, of course, pushing in. Very, very poor land, but, you know, worth taking, because why not? The Muscovite personal union is established at around this point, and then we feed them all this land. Glorious, glorious. France, of course, fairly blobbed, but that won't stop us, because our superior Roman technology is about to start bringing the pain to the Iberians and the French. Once we'd consolidated, you know, the eastern and central parts of the empire, the western part really falls very quickly. So the first war, as you can see, against France, not so big. Aragon and Castile suffered more heavily in the initial conflicts. But at this point, I mean, we've got by far the largest army in Europe, and we can start feeding our vassals French land very easily. And here is where I begin to think coalitions, smolitions. We just start plowing in. Look at this. It's absurd. England obviously falls almost as an afterthought. And yeah, once you no longer need to care about aggressive expansion, the rate at which you can expand is just stupendous, as you can see, because the lack of penalties from overextension as compared to vanilla really means you can just take this land incredibly quickly. Brittany falls. Glorious. Obviously, the last few wars against these guys are constrained simply by how much land we can actually take in each war. Pay no attention to this province, by the way. I'm loading the game on a newer version. That one isn't there. This is the point where we just started truce breaking a little bit to crush the last little bits of Spain. There goes Hungary, and with the integration of Savoy, the borders are restored. Glorious. We did release Russia, feed them some land to improve our border. We let them go as our northern Orthodox brethren in the north there. And if we take a look at the religion map mode, Orthodoxy is the status quo in the vast majority of the empire, and all of this area is steadily being converted away. Kalnixene, as much as I loved to see it, will be converted away eventually, as Orthodoxy has already got its foothold in Europe there. Land in England coring very rapidly, almost all the rest of the empire integrated Oh, something I never did. We never actually... No, we did core Rome. Good, I was going to say we should core Rome for sure. The capital remains over in Constantinople. In Byzantium, in Constantinopolis, whatever you want to call it. A wonderful city of 32,000 ducats of urban infrastructure. Of course, a dominant centre of trade, a dominant centre of production, and a continental art and culture centre. Currently producing, wow, 94 goods produced with 320 urban production skill. That is that's quite the empire we've built. It was a good time. Obviously there are rebellions here and there, but generally an extremely stable empire. Marvelous. Let's just take a look quickly at the ideas we took. So the main challenge after the initial part is religion, and as you can see we went hard on dealing with that. Scholasticism, state religion, asceticism and popular religion made it into a non-issue. This was the campaign in which I fully embraced high church influence meta, and it's amazing. The higher church influence, the happier you should be, in my opinion, generally in this mod. It's fan-freaking-tastic. But there you go, the tale of the Roman Empire. If you want to hear about the future of the Roman Empire, you should watch the final episode. I do a little epilogue where I talk about all that stuff. I won't repeat that again, but it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. Those of you that followed along for the whole, good lord, 109 episodes, 30 odd hours of this campaign, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure bringing you all this this reclamation of ours, and I'll see you in the next series. Bye bye.